Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, and welcome to another episode of 10 Commandments for This One's Wife, where the power of injunction, instruction, restraint is gifted to a YouTuber to decide on 10 commandments that will be issued towards this one's wife. It might compel her to do something. It might stop her doing something. Whatever it is, she can't wriggle out of it. So we're going to find out what 10 commandments have been magicked up for her today. And I'm joined by Sarah of Royally Sage. Hello, Sarah.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Thank you for joining me today.
Great, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Let's get straight down to business. What's your first commandment for this one's wife?
So I'm going to start from my least interesting, probably to my most interesting. At least it's most interesting to me for my own entertainment value. So number 10, she must denounce and reveal what she really thinks about the Sussex squad. Because I think some of them are paid, so who cares? But some of them are not. They're like in a cult. And I think it'd be interesting to see how they react to what she really thinks about them.
Okay. Now, what if she says, "Oh, I think they're wonderful and marvelous," because her narcissism tells her to say that?
No, she has to be honest.
Yes, but that's it. That is her being honest, because that's what her not. Remember, she doesn't sit there thinking, "I hate them, but I'll say I'll like them." When she says, "I like them," she honestly believes it.
It's true. It's true. But I also think I think there's some truth to that because they're telling her that things that she wants to hear,
Mhm.
supporting her, all the things, definitely fluffing up her ego. But I want to know how she views them in other ways, not just how supportive of her, but like we've seen pictures of them now, so we know what they look like. I want to know what she thinks about their appearance, all the things. So I think that might be a different answer.
Okay. The fact is that as a narcissist, she doesn't care for them in the slightest,
Oh, sure.
and they are just there to serve her purposes, like anybody is. So, if you were to say you have to answer in effect honestly as per your narcissism, it would be, I don't I don't care for them. They're just there to serve me. They're just there to serve a purpose for me. They're there to attack Catherine and William, etc. But
Hmm.
I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. I think would probably be the most honest answer that you would get as per the way that her narcissism functions. Um, but in a particular moment, she would say, "Oh, they're wonderful," because in that moment, her narcissism would declare, "You need to say that in order to control the listener." So, in a sense, when you're inviting her to be honest about what she's saying, it is done through the lens of her narcissism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to be careful with the phrasing to get really what the truth. Yes.
absolutely. That's right. That's part of this process that I play devil's advocate a little bit, not to try and um, cause you to fall on your face or anything like that, or to show you up,
Right.
but just to demonstrate that the way that it could be interpreted might not quite be the way that you intended. So, okay, so
Hmm.
that's the first one, to understand how she really looks at the Sussex squad. What's your second
So
commandment?
second one, so she's due to release the Archewell tax forms. They're supposed to come out this next week,
Hmm.
theoretically. I want to see her personal tax forms. Like, obviously,
Okay.
she can redact her, social security number. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But whatever, I want to see what her actual personal ones look like because I feel
Okay.
like
So
they could be,
she's commanded to deliver up to you her
yeah.
personal tax forms. That's straightforward enough. What are you wanting to see? What do you think you might find?
Oh, I think she's probably cheating the system somehow. So I want to see what she's doing, what she's saying, or even if maybe she hasn't filed at all. you know.
Well, that's a possibility that she hasn't filed. What makes you think that she's cheating? What's that based on?
I think it's based on the fact that they seem to have. I think it's based on the fact that she has in the past uh, misrepresented her taxes. The IRS has told her she defaulted on them, or not
Hmm.
defaulted, but like owed her money, and she tried to actually take them to court over like less than $1,000 or some crazy thing.
Hmm.
So because of her past history, that's why I think there's something there.
Sure, and also it's a fair observation, although it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed. The fact
Right.
that she's a narcissist, that means that she will play fast and loose with the truth of her financial circumstances. Not all narcissists would, but
Hmm.
a narcissist is more likely to do so compared to a different type of person because of that sense of entitlement and lack of accountability, the absence of emotional empathy. So
Hmm.
that's nice and straightforward that she'd have to deliver them up to you so you can scrutinize them to see what's in there. Has she actually filed anything, or what she has filed, is it the truth? Is it legitimate? If you found that there were some discrepancies there, what would you do with the information?
Oh, I blast it. She's a public figure.
Yeah.
She's been taking money from public, entities, whether it's charities or government entities.
Hmm.
So she has to be honest in her dealings with that. Plus it's the law. I mean, the rest of us plebs have to pay an honest taxes. So she gets to the same scrutiny as we do.
Okay, so you'd like to see her tax forms, and if, as you suspect, there are some discrepancies in there, you're going to expose her.
Oh yeah, for
All
sure.
right. Okay, that's straightforward enough. What about your third commandment?
All right. So she has been known to be a klepto. She has been known to take shoes from like photo shoots,
Yeah.
residences. So
Mhm.
I want to know, I want a televised return of any stolen goods from royal residences.
Okay, televised return of stolen goods from royal residences. Okay. Yeah. As you say, she has a reputation for being something of a kleptomaniac, and therefore anything that she's taken. What do you think she's taken?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised because she's been in Buckingham Palace and places where we can't go. So I think and then she's also had photographers and people taking pictures of
Mhm.
places that she's not supposed to release to the public, and she's done that. So I don't think it's big of a stretch to think she might have like swiped a knickknack or whatever, something that's from the Queen's own personal stash. I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if that's happened.
And again, that's driven by her narcissism because she fails to recognize boundaries. So she would appropriate people's assets. She has no accountability for her behavior. She has no remorse for behaving that way. She has no emotional empathy for the person that she's stealing from. And she sees it and she wants it. So she'll take it. Okay, so that would be the return of things that she's stolen, which makes sense because it would be restitution.
Hmm.
Why televise it?
Because I think it's important for people to know what she's capable of.
Yeah. Okay, so an exposure of her being a tea leaf.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay. So her thievery gets to be seen on a broadcast of some description. And what would you just want her to hand it back, or would she get a telling off, or anything else happen in this broadcast?
I think for this one, like I like the idea of death by a thousand cuts. So for this one,
Okay.
we'll just do the return and of the stolen goods. We'll save some others for other things.
Noted. Okay. So that's number three. Take me to your fourth commandment, please, Sarah.
All right. Um, the next one, she has to answer this question in front of Harry.
Hmm.
If she had a chance to exchange Harry with William, would she do it?
Okay, that's a good one. So to swap William for Harry.
Yeah. If she had a legitimate chance to get William,
Mm-hmm.
would she take it?
I mean, I think the answer is going to be yes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Given that he's the bigger prize in the scheme of status, etc. And
Exactly.
why does she have to do this in front of Harry?
Because I think, she's lied to Harry so many times. She's manipulated him so many times. He actually um, believes her lies
Mm-hmm.
and takes everything that she says at face value without digging any deeper. He's not that smart. So I think I think that if she really believed that she had a chance, maybe she would do it, and then Harry would actually maybe see the light because it's coming from her own mouth.
Yeah.
It's not somebody else trying to tell, hey, Harry, your wife's, cheating on you or wants your brother instead of you. It's her now telling him.
Yeah. What if this upsets Harry?
Who cares?
Okay, so you don't care about that. It's more you want him to sort of see what she's like and wake up to the superficiality of her existence.
Yeah, and honestly, nowadays they probably both cheat on each other, so he may not care. He may
Yeah.
care. Maybe it'll be a good thing for him
Yeah,
to
no,
find out the truth.
that's a valid point. He might not actually care, or it might confirm a long-held suspicion that he's had as well. You might be doing him a favor in that respect. So you want to expose the likelihood that she would say, oh, yes, I'd much rather have had William than you.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your fifth commandment, please?
Okay. My next one is, I think it's very likely because she's a narcissist and she's cheated on her boyfriends and husbands in the past, that she's definitely been hooking up since she's been back in California. I
Mhm.
would like a list of all the people she's hooked up with since she and Harry have moved back to California.
Okay. So a list of all the people she has hooked up with, i.e., done the hanky panky with.
Yeah.
Yep. Since returning to California.
Mm-hmm.
How many names do you think are on that list?
Oh, I think it's in the double digits because I
Okay.
think, I think she's actively trying to replace Harry, or at
Hmm.
least, making him think so, but definitely trying to replace him because, I don't think Harry is making a lot of money right now, not for her needs. So she's got what she wants from him and
Mm-hmm.
she's ready to move on to greener pastures. So I think she'll put out if sees an interest or an opportunity. And LA has a lot of stupid rich people, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It's,
I think
it's
it's a big list.
yeah, it's certainly the case that with somebody like her, or rather with the narcissist, of course, when their partner, intimate partner, primary source is in the sustained devaluation, the
Mhm.
shackles come off. So
Yeah.
the narcissist is no longer restrained in behaving themselves. So they will go and cheat, not necessarily to seek a replacement, but just because they can, because that's a means of gaining fuel, etc., from somebody else. And they may then lead to become the replacement for the incumbent intimate partner primary source. So it's certainly the case, because she's a narcissist, that Harry has been in the sustained devaluation, that there is a likelihood that she would cheat. What
Mhm.
about the fact that she is one of the world's most heavily reported women? That how is it that we've not got any real suspicion of that having, other than knowing she's a narcissist and therefore it's likely she'll have done it? But how come she's not been caught in a tryst, or been spotted leaving somewhere where you think, what was she doing there, or being seen smooching somebody and being caught out by a long lens?
So there have been some people who have, or some blog blind items of her
Mm.
trying to hook up with people, and then there was a Gord Getty one that even Lady C was like, "Oh yeah, this is absolutely happening. She's absolutely having an affair, trying to do something with this guy," and his family stepped
Well,
in to stop
isn't
it.
there a distinction there that she, I mean, as I understand it, she was trying but got nowhere. So whilst the intent was there, the
Yeah.
affair didn't take place because there wasn't a locking of lips or anything like that.
Yeah, or something. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if something did happen there physically with the guy, but
Okay.
nothing really. She couldn't continue it
Hmm.
because I think she's good at like playing the victim to people, to suckers. So yeah, I think also part of the reason why she hasn't been photographed is because she's around bigger celebrities. And so, she's in a town full of bigger names, and everybody there who, usually when you see a celebrity photographed, is because they know, it's because they wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
They wanted you to see them. So you arranged it, really. Most of those pap shots are arranged. So I think she's been around, but she also knows the tricks of the trade of how to not be seen when you don't want to, which is why all of her pap shots are always suspect, because clearly they are staged and set up.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to expose her likely infidelity.
Yes.
Why do you want to expose that?
Just good gossip for me.
Okay. Well, that's honest. Yeah. So confirm the suspicions and give you something to gossip about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. What's number 6, please?
All right. I think it's pretty obvious that has divorce plans. She's been leaking all kinds of stuff to the press about
Yeah.
Harry. So I want to know what her divorce plans are. Like, what is she actually planning on him? Is she going to be trying to label him as some sort of abusive husband, or he was, this big drug addict and it was so hard for her? I think that's probably the case, but I like a confirmation of my suspicions.
Okay, so you want to confirm your suspicions as to the allegations that she'll make in the imminent divorce.
Yes.
Okay. Just to scratch that itch, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Basically, because I think I'm right. I think this is pretty clear what she's been doing. And Harry being an addict himself, he's vulnerable,
Mhm.
actually. So, and then on top of that, who knows if her mom has been helping supply with drugs to Harry to keep him compliant and be used as a way to help capture some evidence to use on him. I mean, I definitely think that's possible. I would not be surprised at all if she's, got him videotaped in really compromising situations.
Yes.
So,
Given the likelihood
mhm.
that divorce is going to occur, do
Yeah.
you think that we will actually hear of the allegations that are made? Let's say she brings the divorce petition. Do you think we'll actually get to hear what she alleges, or do you think that'll never come out?
Well, if she's anything like Amber Heard, because Amber Heard's another narcissist,
Hmm.
I believe that if she didn't get what she wanted
Mm.
initially, she will. Or if she just needs money and attention, she will.
Hmm.
I think it's a mathematical certainty, because it's going to give her everything she wants. She wants the victim narrative, the attention, more press. She can like build off of it, like Amber Heard tried to make herself seem like this big, philanthropist woman, champion. So yeah, I think it's more lucrative for her to say something.
If it was a choice between saying to her, you're going to get $10 million and you'll be able to air your grievances, so she can tell the press, for instance, the content of her petition, she can go and do an interview, etc. Or here's $30 million, but you stay silent. Which do you think she'll choose?
See, the thing is that she, like, it's not just money, it's money and fame. So she, in her mind, will say, I think what she will choose is she'll say, okay, I'll take the 30 million, and then still say it anyway.
Yeah, but then she'd lose the money.
Okay, well,
I mean,
Exactly.
you might be right. She could still do that,
Yeah.
being haphazard. That she thinks she's being clever. I think she'd
Yeah.
probably do it by way of leaking information.
Hmm.
So you think she'd go for the 30 million and accept basically confidentiality terms, and then being her typical self would make it known through back channels that these are the allegations. Because
Oh, sure.
I don't think there will ever be a day in court situation. If divorce,
No,
I don't think that'll
no,
ever happen. I think that the monarchy will make sure that it's silenced, and so nobody gets to actually hear evidence, or that there's any form of judgment that's given in relation to it. I think it will just be a lot of speculation about what the content of the petition states and so forth. But
yeah, I think what she'll do is she'll take the money and then she'll do what she always does, which is leak through
okay,
various sources. And
yep,
then what's going to end up happening is they'll bring her in to like question her on the leaks. So now, like, she's like, I'm being asked. I have to respond to this. Now I'm being asked about this. So because she's done that before. So, and I feel like that's exactly what she would do.
okay. But you've got your suspicions about what her allegations might be, and you'd like to scratch that itch and have her tell you this is the basis of what I'd be divorcing him for.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7, please.
I want the name of the surrogate.
Okay. Yeah. So you firmly believe that there is a surrogate?
I believe that there are children. I believe that she did have a surrogate. I don't know if she can carry to term
Hmm.
because of her age. Um, so, I mean, not that saying that people can't have babies, but she seemed to have gotten pregnant too quick and too succession, too quickly, one
Yeah.
after another for someone her age. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's illogical. So, so I think that, and by virtue, there has to be a surrogate. So I think that, and with her bump changes and all that kind of crap. So
So
I think that there's a surrogate for sure. I want the name.
yeah. So the whole package of suspicion arousing around allegations that there was a use of a moon bump, the evidence that's been come forward to say that the position of her bump moved and changed shape, etc., the speed of the pregnancies, etc., all of these things together have caused you to think, I don't think she gave birth and there was a surrogate used.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Hmm.
this is a woman who I think knows very well how not to get pregnant, but also how to use the pregnancy maybe as a ploy to men who are
Yeah.
stupid like Harry is.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that there is a pregnant, or there was a surrogate, maybe
Hmm.
two of them, one for each kid.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I would like to know their names, and I feel like that cuts through her wiggle room. She has to give me a name.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. If she's told that she has to give a name and that there were surrogates, you will get that name. That's part of the power of the commandment. So
Yep.
is, is that again because you believe that it's surrogates and you want that confirmation, or is it more about wanting to expose what she's done?
I mean, it's a bit of both. It's like scratching that gossip itch, so
Mm-hmm.
that way, because I think one of the things that she likes, and that's why the reasons why she complains about it, but she hasn't actually stopped the
Yeah.
speculation about the surrogacy, because she kind of likes the speculation, I think.
Okay.
So, taking that away from her, so there's no more talk about the speculation and exposing it, and then on top of that, the obvious benefit of the royals being like, oh, we had no idea. They have room to say we didn't know she had the second baby when we were even around. So gives them wiggle room out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes the kids out of line of succession, which if they weren't born of the body, they had no right to be in it anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So part exposure, part scratching the gossip itch as you described it. All right. Take me to your 8th commandment, please.
Okay. The other one, the 8th commandment is, I want a dollar amount of how much she has charged the charities for her accommodations over the years. So every time she goes to Invictus and they have to do all the things to please her, whether it's getting her a new wardrobe or press, paying for her press, paying for her extravagant, luxury stuff where she's staying, accommodations.
Yeah.
Invictus, Sandoval, where all the places that charities she has worked with. I want a number of how much she has charged those charities over the years since she's left the royal family.
Okay, so you want to know just how much she sought to milk the charities for her own personal expense.
Oh yeah, I think that would sink her.
Okay. And do you think it's going to be substantial?
Yeah, I do. Because the rumors are with Invictus, and it's not even so much rumors. It's been, talk about her wanting them to paint hotel rooms certain colors when she went there in Germany. And that's Germany, and they said no to a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to some people, she's trying it again, even with more extravagant stuff for the Invictus in Canada.
Yes.
So those monies are adding up. So I want to know what is the actual dollar amount.
Okay. Again, an answer would be furnished. What would you do with that answer?
Oh, I would let everybody know. More exposure.
So you'd expose the charity grift.
Yeah, I would, because for sure. I think that's really the maintenance of her lifestyle right now is whatever she can get from charities. That's how she's doing it.
Given that it's the charities that she's involved in and ultimately she carries out some form of role for them, it would be accepted that some form of expense charge would be acceptable. Naturally, you see it in her instance of being excessive. But what is it about that behavior that offends you particularly?
Well, because I think like with royals, like a lot of the royals, when they work, they provide some of the coverage themselves. So some of the charity may do some of the accommodations. And I think, for some things that is okay. But the amount, the volume, the excessiveness of it is not. And it actually undermines the point of the charity and the donations to the donors. So I think the donors have a right to know how much money of their donations is actually going to her.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What is your 9th commandment?
Okay. So my other one is, okay. She must go on television and give a full confession and apology about all the bullying, harassment, lies, and attacks to the royal family. She has to confess everything. Now, I understand she's a narcissist, so she's going to say, I didn't do anything.
But given the fact that it took place, then with this commandment, you'd be essentially able to override any denial and the reality of what has happened. So if no bullying had taken place, she would appear and say, no bullying has taken place, because that's actually what's happened. But on the basis that we understand that it has, because so many people have spoken about it, it would be safe to assume that something has occurred. We don't know the full extent of it. It's speculative and rumored, but something has happened. So even though her narcissism, as you quite rightly point out, would cause her to deny it, here that would be stripped away. And it's almost like Jim Carrey in Liar, Liar. She has to tell the truth of what has happened, even though her narcissism would try and stop it. If she's bullied, she has to explain that she's bullied, and she has to provide that full confession about what she's done vis-a-vis the lies and the smearing, etc. Why do you want that to happen?
Because I think she has bullied other people. And she has been a bully for so long. I mean, you don't have these bullying allegations coming from both the UK and the United States without there being merit to it. You don't say, oh, out of one side of your mouth, all the bullying of the staff never happened, and then on the other side, releasing like a 27-page rebuttal. You would not have anything to rebut if it never happened. So something clearly happened just by sheer fact that document exists of her rebuttal means something did take place, and that she even admitted to it to a certain extent. So I would like to know what that is, because I feel like the people she bullied have a right. They have not had their day. They've either been silenced by NDAs or whatever, and the royal family has been silenced because, by sheer virtue of the fact that they're the royal family, they can't clap back. They're not going to sink to her level. They have to rise above it and move on. But I feel like the public owes the truth. I feel like she's used and manipulated the media
Hmm.
to continue her abuse and continue her attacks and all her attack dogs on there. And I think the truth should just come out. I feel like it's justice. So
Yeah.
that's why I'd like to see it happen.
So you're motivated by justice for the victims in relation to that commandment.
Yes.
Okay. What's your 10th and final commandment, please?
Okay, so this one is really more my entertainment. So I don't know if you're familiar with any of the Real Housewives shows.
I've heard of them. I'm pleased to say I've never watched any of them.
Okay. So it's total trash TV.
Yeah.
But so the Real Housewives are a bunch of spoiled women who get together. They go on vacations and they eat a bunch of dinners and all party together.
Sounds riveting.
Yeah, exactly. But it's full of narcissists. So
Indeed.
they're all fighting.
Yeah.
They all fight so badly about stupid stuff and pick each other apart, and everybody is vying for top spot. So she would have to join one of the Housewives franchises, not as a star. She only gets to be a friend of, and she has to do it for a season, and she has to allow herself to be torn apart by them. She can't just run away. She has to sit there and take it.
Okay. Yeah. So basically a bit of bear baiting.
Yes, basically. It's really for my entertainment, because I feel like she would not be able to handle it. It'd be so wonderful to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you. Although she's aggressive towards people,
Yeah.
when perhaps it's a one-on-one, when she's got them cornered and she can use status and hierarchy against them, one could imagine that in the scenario you paint there, she would just she lacks the sharpness of mind to come back with any witty comebacks, because often, and I've seen excerpts from these programs, they somehow just creep up on you almost through osmosis. You do get some narcissists who are quite sharp in their comebacks. She hasn't got that. And no. I agree with you. I could well imagine that she would get absolutely shredded and would probably just sit there crying.
Yeah, it would be very entertaining for her to kind of get a taste of her own medicine. We all get to witness the bully getting bullied finally.
Yeah.
That would be great television. And honestly, for me, as somebody who is on X, I get to comment about it. So it's great content for me.
Well, it would certainly provide plenty for analysis. Absolutely. Myself included. Okay, so there we are. The 10 Commandments. Now, the overriding theme that I've got from much of that is, whilst there's a touch of justice for the victims and at the end their entertainment, the theme that runs through to my mind is exposure.
Yeah.
You want to expose her tax dealings, you expose her thieving, expose her lies, expose her infidelity. You want to expose the surrogacy. You want to expose the charity gift. So you basically want to unmask all of her shenanigans, yes?
Yeah, because I think she's been really good about covering her tracks. So I feel like dismantling that cloak and dagger stuff that she's been doing would bring it all to light would be great.
Is that desire to issue those commandments to her so that she is exposed? How much of that is driven by a sense of frustration that it hasn't happened so far?
I mean, for me, there is some of it, like the surrogacy. Like, I kind of feel like, there's comments sometimes in the media where they make comments and you're like, that's an interesting way of phrasing that comment that you made. Do you guys know something that you're just not sharing with us? So it makes me wonder if the media already has suspicions about her. So for me, it's like, well, if the media has suspicions about her, why aren't they not talking about it? So that's kind of been frustrating for me. The media already knows a lot of dirt on her, so release it.
Why do you think they're not talking about it?
I think they're worried about her suing, so that this way it takes away that power.
But if it's true,
right?
why would they be worried?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe they're worried about because she still has connections to the royal family in some way. So,
What, they think they'd be disrespectful to do it?
yeah, but I don't know if the media cares these
I
days.
wouldn't think that they would do. My own view is that with many of these things, is that with some of the rumours, they're just that. They're
Yeah.
just rumours that years ago somebody put it out there and it's gained legs and it gets repeated so often on the internet that it just becomes a fact by virtue of repetition. But if you were
Mm.
to actually go back and try and find some evidence to support it, there isn't any. So I think there are certain things that are said about her which just simply aren't true, and they're nothing more than rumours. I think with
Yeah.
other things, there are aspects which are true, but I think the problem is that the people that can confirm them would only do so off the record and would never put their name to it. And therefore, if they ran it as an allegation, they wouldn't be able to prove it because the person wouldn't give evidence to support it if there was like a defamation claim brought against them. So I think that's why the media hasn't run with certain things, is that they know it to be the case, but they can't prove it because the relevant people wouldn't support the evidence in open court.
Right, and I think that's true, and I think that's probably part of the surrogacy because the question would be like, well, why would somebody fake a pregnancy at that so blatantly? Like that's the biggest question a lot of people who don't understand narcissists, and certainly a narcissist to her level, because average person would never do such a thing. But she is not the average person. She's a narcissist.
Absolutely, indeed.
Wants that attention.
That's right. So it's a completely different perspective. Well, thank you very much for the provision of your 10 commandments for this one's wife, which are premised primarily on exposing the chicanery that's been up to. Valuable viewers, you've heard Royally Sage's 10 commandments there. She wanted to scratch her gossip itch. Has she scratched your itch in terms of what she's commanded of this one's wife, or could she have gone further? Was there be more that you would have wanted? If so, you can let Royally Sage and I know in the comment section. Or do you think, yeah, that satisfied me? That's what I'd have gone for as well. Similarly, you can let us know. All that remains is for me to thank Sarah of Royally Sage for joining me today. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Not at all. And I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.